Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, I'm Tammy Lee with the Makeshift Happen Spiritual Variety Show, coming live to you here every Wednesday. Yeah, it could be a little late, but sometimes, as in today, sometimes technology has its own ideas. So how are you? How are you? So as we're going along today, I want you to look above the video. There is a link saying StreamYard.com. Click on that link so I can see your comments that come over into this where I am coming live from inside this studio called StreamYard, and that way I can see who's here with us. So go ahead and say hi as we're waiting for people to join in with us. I don't know for sure yet if it's working on Facebook, so come on in. So let me know where you're coming in live from. If you're coming in live from our Facebook group, Ignite Your Joyful Heart, or on YouTube, or over from actually the Emerald Compass. We're going to start live streaming over there every week. So let me know. I'd like to know where you're seeing this live interaction. So as we gather today in this sacred union, that's what I feel like this is every week when we gather. Like a sacred time, a sacred gathering, if you will, that we come together, we take that deep breath, as I encourage you to do right now, and you just let it go. And you allow all things that are not supporting you, all things that have gotten you in a tizzy up to now, all things that have made you fall out of your grace and your connectiveness to self. Just take that deep breath and let it all just fall away right now. Let it all fall away right now as you come into this space, as we gather together. Hello, darlings. It's a glorious day today. How many of you have noticed different flowers and different happenings going on of new life, new things going on around you? It's one of the things we want to talk about today, is allowing ourselves to create space for new things to come alive within us and around us. Sometimes we can have a co-creativeness that actually can slip through, can actually slip by us without an awareness of it, of this grand creation that we are playing with, that we actually have control of we together with our spirit have a grand creation going on. One of the things I was reminded of yesterday is, because I haven't been feeling creative for months, and what I realized is I wasn't feeling creative in the old way of how creation would bring itself to me. And having a conversation with a dearly beloved sacred sister, I realized that I was in creation, but I was creating space. And that's something that this new era, this new time, this new Up level. Everybody's got different words for it. Awakening, up leveling, new world, new energy, new. And to me, it pretty much means the same thing. But coming into this new energy, into this new way of living, of truly, I truly, truly, truly believe, even with all the chaos going on, that we can still create our heaven on earth, that we truly can live in that. I still believe that. Even with all the different nuances that 2020 brought to us, with restrictions, but also looking at where is the gift in these things? Where is the gift in being different? Where is the gift in needing to rest more? Where is that gift? Like looking at the gift within, looking at the gift within different circumstances that come up that we're not ready for, that we haven't maybe, like a circumstance that will come up and okay, so let me rephrase that. Not saying we're not ready for it, but we like when something surprises us, comes up, boom, surprises us, because we just may be ready for it without even knowing we are ready. Like having an extra guest come to your house and, oh, I'm not ready for you yet. Sometimes we have an extra guest that comes to visit us. And as you all know, with the work I do, well, those of you that are new to me, I'm a highly intuitive, multidimensional facilitator of energy tracking and healing experiences. And multidimensional, that means that I can communicate, work with beings that are not of human. Okay. Now, I call this my entourage. And let me clarify something here, because this is my understanding, because I've worked with people that have spirit guides. I have friends that they talk about their spirit guides. So there's a difference between a spirit guide and your entourage. Spirit guides, from my understanding, and this feels truth to me, spirit guides are beings that have actually walked the earth, that are humans, that have passed over, and now they are here to help guide us if we choose to have them in our, as one of our team members. Okay, that's a spirit guide. But remember, they also have been human. Okay, these can be a ascended master. Let's just say Mary Magdalene or Jesus. They can be a spirit guide. Yahweh. Okay. And then we have our entourage, who are multidimensional. Now, I'm not saying these other beings were not multidimensional. That's not what I'm saying. Because the more work I do, I know. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Because I feel like I'm a multi-dimensional being and I'm still in a human body. Okay. So like, I know I'm multi-dimensional. I have aspects of these other beings within me that I'm still getting to know, such as Sasquatch, such as what came to me the other day. Wow, I did not know I was going to share this. What came to me the other day is um, Pleiadians, and oh my gosh. And another, wow, where's my notes? Now I have to look at my notes. I'm like, I just had this conversation yesterday, and this woman's like, oh yeah, that's so and so. Oh my gosh. Okay, I know you weren't expecting me to do this. Oh, okay, I guess I'll just have to post it because Lemurian. Thank you. See, they just helped me to find this. Like Lemurian came to me the other day. And just as I'm sharing this with you, like I can feel that energy. I even feel a little bit of tears behind my eyes, like of gratitude, because I've been making space. I've been making space as we do our inner healing work. We create space. So I invite my entourage members in, and I don't even have to know who all they are. I just trust. So entourage is a bit different than spirit guides. Entourage comes and when we make space, when we create space, I had no idea that the creation that I've been actually working on for the last 4 months. Because see, in my mindset, in the old way, for me, was I had to create something like physical, like such as a program or write a book, or oh, I must do this, or I must do that, or like, do you understand that kind of that energy? Like it had to be that way. And now what I realized so much yesterday, that I have been, that I have been co-creating, because I've been getting down on myself every now and then, because I'll catch myself when I'm in my head, and instead of in my heart space and living from that space, like I'm supposed to create something. I need to bring another product out. I need to do something. And what I've been realizing is I have been creating, but from a whole new, from a new, from a new energy. See, all this emotion is moving through here with me right now as I'm sharing this. So I want you to stop and think for a minute. Is there something, have you been down on yourself a little bit? Because maybe thinking that you're not doing your thing or your purpose or your whatever that is, because there's something new actually happening within you and around you. I've actually been doing alchemy without even knowing that, until I had a conversation yesterday with a dear, dear sacred Emerald Compass sacred sister. A sacred sister The sacred sisterhood that we're growing is bar none one of the most powerful things. Emerald energy is really coming in. Essence. Okay, so what I realized is of this making space around ourselves, because we're making space within ourselves too. That this making space within my home. I don't know why I get all of a sudden, so this happened a couple months ago. All of a sudden, I open up. So how many of you have, I just call it my Tupperware drawer. Some of it's Tupperware, and you got lids that don't match the containers that are either cracked or, all that. And there's a mismatch. About 2 months ago, I just I couldn't take it anymore. And I just dumped it all out on the kitchen floor. And then I went through it piece by piece. If it didn't match up, it did not go back in. Now, I did not know in that moment, as I'm whipping everything out, I didn't realize that was actually going to be a monumental moment. I mean, who thinks, oh yeah, I'm going to clean out my Tupperware cabinet, my Tupperware drawer space in my kitchen, and you're going to have an epiphany. We're right there, because my spirit didn't want to take any more of the disarray. Okay? And the lids that did not match did not go back in. If it don't fit, it don't go in. If it doesn't match, it don't go in. Not realizing. So one of the bigger lessons I learned, one of the biggest epiphany, wow, I was making space. I was creating space. I was creating organization. Creating space. There will be things that yourself, your spirit will ask you, and they could be the silliest things. They could feel like the silliest of things. They can feel like the silliest of things. And if you pay attention to it, and we all lose it sometimes. I even bypass, sometimes even don't realize with this fleeting thought that I needed to listen to that. That's happened to me yesterday. I had this, I'm out for a walk with my oldest daughter. I'm like, you know what? I'll get my mail later. I go to town to go walk with her. I'll get my mail later. I need to get back to your house. She's like, but we're walking right by the post office. Okay. I had this fleeting thought I needed to go check my phone. I didn't bring it with me. I'm like, okay, fine. I got enough time. I'll go get the mail, which delayed me. Okay. Which in the meantime, I had a phone call. I had a text message come through that said, hey, Tammy, here's an opportunity. But you got 30 minutes to jump in on it. I saw that message 10 minutes too late. And I'm like, So had I listened to that fleeting thought, no, I got to get back. I got to look at my phone. I don't know why I got to look at my phone. And I would have been there. I would have seen the message on time. It took me a little bit to work through that. So, a few minutes of, darn it. Because I didn't listen to that initial fleeting thought or that message. So there will be messages that come through, and some can be so fleeting that you just like, well, I don't even know what that meant. But when we start to pay attention, when we create that space, when I am like, okay, thank you for this message. Help me to hear you louder next time. So I'm already asking for louder voice to come in, per se. But when we create space within us and we create space outside of us, other things can come through. Space of, for instance, one of the things that's going to be happening here on the farm is we're creating space for retreat, for retreats. For retreats. There's an alchemical dance that's happening when we create space. When we listen. When we allow ourselves to go with a flow that wants to help guide us. And that's one of the big messages that I continue to hear that came through even more yesterday. That not only I work on with the people that want to do one-on-ones with me, during their sessions, but also I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to speak your truth with people you trust. Maybe there's just that one person. Had I not had this conversation yesterday with this special sacred sister, I don't know that I would have realized that I have been creating alchemy these entire months, where the new energy, the nuances, they're changing. And the new way of creation is happening. There is a new way of creation that desires to be with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Instead of being a bull and going, yes, sometimes we need that. Because sometimes we need to make things happen, make shift happen like that. I get that. We live here on a farm. We have 400 head of cattle. And sometimes there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You got to make things happen. You got to make shift happen. However, with that said, there is a new energy, or maybe it's just been a dormant energy, okay? Because it's been pushed down, suppressed, and repressed, because it's full of magic. Full of magic. Of bringing back. Do you remember when you were a child? Let's go back there for a moment. Do you remember? Can you remember when you were a child? Let's see if you can go back before you went to school. when things did seem magical, when the awe and the wonder just like helps you to see maybe special friends, when we were so open to that energy, to that magic, that's the energy that is here with us now. That as an adult, because of how we've been programmed, unless you've been one of those very fortunate, blessed beings that were raised by parents that help keep that open, or even a grandparent, which that's what I do with my grandchildren. I talk to them about Sasquatch. I even bought stuffed animals that look like Sasquatch in order to have those conversations, to keep their minds open, to keep their energy receptors open as they go through life. And they can think I'm weird, and that's okay. But as they go through life, to help keep reminding them of the magic and the energy and these elementals and these other beings that are truly benevolent, that want to be with us, want to move with us, want to create with us, want to help us, want to have a relationship with us. I just want to say, hey girl, how you doing? Hey, yeah, come and sit with me right here. I don't know if I've shared this story okay, I'm just going to, because this truly can happen. Okay. These beings, these different beings that are really, that just love us, love us, love us. But when we can create space, when we can heal those things within us, I used to be scared, really scared of the dark, of, because who grows up with that saying, you better go to sleep now, the boogeyman's going to get you. And, oh, the boogeyman's under your bed. Better stay in your bed because the boogeyman's going to get you. Ugh. Like, just, I can feel the ick in that, right? Okay. Thank you for letting me share this, because I just now realized I got to do a little bit more work around that, because I can still feel that ick inside of me. Like that. Okay. But when we grow up with that, and that's ingrained within us, that we carry that energy is a part of us. So when we heal that and we do our work, however your work is, or whether or not you call upon me to help you through these things, or someone else, which I highly, highly encourage that. Okay, because that helps us to make space. No benevolent being is going to come visit you because they can feel your fear. They don't want to scare you. It took me a while for Sasquatch to be able to, because there was so much healing I had to do within myself. Okay? So over the years, as I've been doing that, probably about 6 months ago, I'm driving home from our business that we have in Oklahoma. See, energy's moving. One of my ways that I know energy's moving is I start burping. Okay. Because I can feel a Sasquatch. They're really happy. I'm about ready to share this again. But I'm driving home and I turn this one way. It's like a 4-hour drive. And I turn from one highway to another. And I drive by this wooded area. See, I'm already giggling. And all of a sudden, 2 Sasquatch hop in my car. Now, I'm not saying I can see them like looking straight at you right now. I see them out of my peripheral. How many of you have had experiences where you see something out of the peripheral? And sometimes you maybe even see something dark. A dark thing would have scared me, honestly. Years ago, would have scared me because dark was associated with evil. That's how I grew up. It's no more like that because I've healed so much of my own thoughts and beliefs that we can actually carry on through our ancestors, through mom and dad, especially mama, because we were in her womb. Okay. So we have more of their beliefs, especially mom, than we do our father. But we can still carry forward their beliefs. Okay. So when we go to work, when we do our deep healing work, multidimensionally too, because in my opinion, I know that I know this. I've lived other lifetimes. And I can even bring those things forward that I never healed then into this lifetime now. But when we're diligent and we do that inner work, so I'm driving and these two Sasquatch hop in my car. I have a 2001 Lexus IS 300 that I was driving at that time. So the back seat is really scrunchy, right? And the one in the back seat, he was so big, like I can see this out of my peripheral. And I'm talking to them. Now, if I turned and looked, no, I don't see them straight on, but I can see them, sense them out of the peripheral. How many of you have had that experience? You see something out of your peripheral. You sense something. You turn and look, it's not there. So you shake it off like, oh, I must have just been seeing something. You understand what I'm saying? How many of you have experienced that? What I do now is like, I see you. I don't have to see with my human eye. I see with my spiritual eye. I sense and when we make space within us by doing our work and space around us, because then our energy can expand out of our physical self. And these other beings feel more safe with us. Okay? They'll come and visit us. Some of you might be saying, oh, no, I don't want them to come visit me. That's okay. Just keep doing your work or start, and you may have a little gift given to you. How many of you have seen like a butterfly when there's not a butterfly? A ladybug, where did that ladybug come from? These are little gifts that they're very lightly, very calmly, I'm here. Like letting you know that there are other beings around you. I now invite them. So I'm driving. These two Sasquatch jump in my car, and I'm like, whoa. And I'm giggling as I'm driving. And they're having a conversation, and I'm just like, hey guys, and we're just laughing. I'm giggling. They love to laugh. They love to hear stories. And these experiences, like they were there to not only laugh with me, but also say, Tammy, we're not alone. You're not alone. Because how many of you, honestly, I didn't even know this was there until I was working with a group of people over the weekend. And one lady mentioned loneliness. I'm like, oh, like, wow, I have a layer of loneliness in me. Like I could feel the tears. I could just feel it. So that's one of the things I worked on. Is when we do this work, when we have those little hits or hints, like, oh, let me look into that a little bit more. Where am I feeling loneliness? Why? Like, oh, what created that loneliness? Oh, and it came forth and told me that. Like, it was a big aha moment. Which, by working with that loneliness, I know I kind of jumped from the car ride to this here. When we work with those different things, it actually allows that sense, that feeling, that layer to dissipate, hence creating space. So right now I can still see me in the car, and I can see this out of my peripheral. I can still see the Sasquatch, the smaller one in the front seat, the big one in the back seat with his knees almost up into his chest because he's so big. And just the fact that they came to visit, and I was so open for that. I was open for that. I'm getting chills down the inside of my arms, sharing this experience with you. So what kind of experiences do you want? One of the things I've been asking for is healing those parts of me to where I can connect with the fairies more. And unicorns have been coming in. They're helping me to heal those parts of me. Because as a little girl, I knew they existed. But as I grew up through the years, I'm 58 now. But as I grew up through the years, and I see these young ones so connected, even young people of my kids' age, because they never lost that connection. And I don't know if it's just in my generation where so many of us that connection has been stifled. However, there's so many of us that are desiring that back, that connection back. So making space. So what is it? I want you to write this down. What is it that wants? Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to formulate this question. So take that deep breath. Go into your heart. Really feel your heartbeat. What does your spirit want you to start connecting with? I know for me, it is partly fairies. It's that element, all those elementals, leprechauns, the gnomes. Yeah, I was even scared of gnomes. For those of you that love gnomes, you might think, oh, Tammy, how could? But because I grew up with like cartoons that even the gnomes were really mean and all that stuff. And you know, I know people that's got gnomes in their gardens, and I'm like, really? And so my imagination go really wild. But that whole realm, and Pegasuses and unicorns, but to be in that magic realm again, okay? To be co-creative with that, to be in enchantment, to live with enchantment. to allow enchantment into your life. The energy of enchantment, the magical, sometimes mystical, to be in co-creation with that. What is it your spirit wants you to connect with? So fairies told me 3 years ago when I was actually in Banff, Canada, and we were walking through the forest, a group of us, and the leader pulls my arms, like, come on, Tammy. Oh my gosh, there's a fairy village. And I'm like, huh? I call these youngsters, because you never know that your teacher can actually be somebody younger than you. Be open to that. Be open to your teachers being younger than you when you least expect it. Could be for a moment, could be for a season, could be for a lifetime. And she pulls me into this opening in the forest. And she's like, look at this fairy village. Oh my gosh. See, she already had that gift of being able to see it. There's a couple other ladies there too that were able to see this fairy village. Not me. So, but however, within my heart space, that desire within my spirit, within my heart, within my body, was wanting to see it, wanting to connect. And I heard this voice saying, go behind the crowd. Because these ladies, oh my gosh, almost everyone was all excited and like all giddy and everything, and which is fine. But I'm like, I don't see what you guys are seeing in my head. And I was guided to go back behind the crowd. So I did. And I went into the opening between these two trees. Maybe there was 3 actually. And as I stood there, and then I kneeled down on this moss that was just lush. Never seen moss like that before. Lush and rich and thick. We don't have stuff like that in Kansas. And then as these ladies started to move on, I stayed there. And I just, in my mind, just started talking. And they said, Tammy, we live. So now I started to hear them. We live. We're at your place in Kansas. And I'm like, no. Oh yeah, we're at your place in Kansas. And I'm thinking like, oh, are you under this one tree? Oh, you're under this tree. You're in that tree? No, we're over there under that tree. I'm like, oh no, it can't be. You're under this tree. Like, I was so in my head that thinking I would, and I felt them take my arm and said, no, that tree. Like, whoa. And sometimes that's how our gifts can start to develop. I so encourage you, do that work within you, because it's creating space. What opportunity is calling to you? Do you need to get away from home? Do you need to develop something at home? Do you need to create space at home? Do you know somebody? I know a lady. She can see fairies. That's local to me. I didn't know this about her. I've known her for over 10 years. I didn't know this about her 9 years ago, for the last 9 years. But the more I started to talk about it, the more she's like, oh yeah, because there are parts of people that they want to share with you, but until you can open up that conversation, because that's not just any conversation to have with just anybody, right? Because when you have that conversation, when you can open up the conversation that's beyond the news, beyond the normalcy of what people talk about, and you can see the sparks in somebody else's eyes, and then they can start to share with you their experience. That's alchemy, because you're shifting the energy. You're literally opening up the golden aspects within each other. You're opening up the abundance within each other. You're opening up those hidden treasures within each other. And you're opening up the possibility of new experiences, of new opportunities. Because when somebody else can start to share their truth and they can bring that energy up, 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 and out with you, that they've never been able to share this before, you're creating new space. You're creating new space. I had a conversation like this last fall. I wasn't sure. Now, I understand. We're not always sure how to approach a subject, right? When you want to talk about Sasquatch, when you want to talk about magic, magical spaces, and like, oh, how do I do this? Like, so I was allowed to go on some land. For those of you that don't know, I also work with the land. And I can feel the land. And right now, just the magic of the land where I live is coming forth, saying hello to each and every one of you, saying welcome, welcome, welcome. Because when we do this live, when we do this interaction, right now, it's not just about me here on this computer. It's everything. This is also one of the reasons I kept hearing the message. Take your work home, Tammy. Take your work home. In 2017, okay, just follow me. I know I'm going different places. There's a reason for this. Because of all these different little messages that maybe you don't see until after the fact, that are literally coming to you now, wanting you, wanting me, wanting all of us to pay attention to, because we are being guided. But sometimes we just can't see it, know it, feel it. Okay? 2017, I launched my book in July 2017. The second start. Finding the joy in the new you. The second start. Okay. I launched that in July 2017. But for a full year before that, actually almost 2 years, because I worked for a company. I was in broadband, and I was like one of their top sales executive. They actually hired me to come work for them to help start their sales department in that company. So for 2 years almost, I kept hearing, you got to go, you got to go. There's something else, there's something. But I just never did until I started writing my book. And then when I launched my book in July 2017, that's the same day I launched it, same day was my last day at work. Okay? For that job. And then I get invited to have, and I'm feeling like I'm supposed to be at my home doing my work, doing all my sessions from my home, via the phone, internet. Okay. But I didn't listen to that. I allowed myself to be talked out of it by having an office in a local spa that was brand new, so people could come and see me. And so I did that. And I kept hearing, like after a couple months, like it was great. It was good. People did come see me. And then I kept hearing, take it home, Tammy, take it home, take it home. And I finally listened. I brought myself home. I do my work from here, majority of it. As I've been doing this work, like I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was like, had that voice. That was my spirit. That was my entourage. Like, come on, take it home. Because every time I work here, every time I do a session, it goes into the land. The energy goes in. It creates space. It creates space. It creates healing. It creates healing. When you do your inner work, because when I do my sessions with other people, whether they're one-on-one, whether they're one-on-two, when I do my sessions, whether it's over the phone, over the internet, the energy of that work, even when I work on myself, the energy of that work, it goes in to the building. It goes into the home. It goes into the ground. The land was calling me home. Because this land that we live upon, which it too was suppressed and repressed, because there's nothing, because it's like hard work, hard work, hard work. Farming is hard work. That's the mentality. Our kids are the 6th generation to have lived here. So that's been the mentality for over 100 years. Hard work, hard work, hard work. And the elementals, the ground, and say, it doesn't have to be hard. We are here to help you. See all that emotion? It's because they're I'm connecting with them when sharing this story. It doesn't have to be hard for you, darlings. But when we can be in that space of hearing those messages, of even when we bypass, like I did yesterday, and like, that was a message. It was a fleeting message to get back, look at my phone. Like, okay. So, and I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. I've known her for a few years. She's like, Tammy, every time you post, and she's an energy worker. She does her own thing. And she's like, Tammy, did you know? I love every time you post a picture about the farm. Really? Oh, yes. Every time you do, I feel enchantment. Like, wow, I had no clue that she could feel this. That's that conversation, because I'm so open to share all of me with her. She's so open to share all of her with me. Created this conversation, created this energy, because there was space. Do you understand what I'm trying to? Are you understanding what I'm sharing here? Let me know, because I'm not sure if I'm losing you guys here. You ladies, let me know if you're understanding what I'm sharing. That creating that space, I mean, we truly are creating alchemy. It's an alchemical process. So much gratitude coming through right now. So much gratitude. So what is it that your spirit is asking you to create space around, within, for? What's just like guiding you? What feels, what is resonating with you? What is it to clean out a cabinet? I, can you just go with it and let that be your, let that be your purpose for the day? I used to get so hung up thinking my purpose had to be grandiose. And you know what? Like I had to save the world, that I was missing these little messages. And that one little message that you hear and you act upon can be bigger than you can ever imagine. One of those messages that's coming through to you that you're acting on can be bigger, more powerful, more potent than you can ever imagine. Yes. Yes, it can be. So just take a deep breath. Go back into your heart space. Maybe even some of you want to ask for guidance. Where is it? Chrissy, you're really good at asking questions. What kind of question would you ask? Me wanting to grow a relationship with the elementals, the fairies in particular, at a certain point in my life. Is what is it? What is it that is there something I need to heal in order to connect with you better? What is it within me that I need to look at in order to connect with you better? Carol's saying, so one of the things that she's doing, she's working on her house now. So then this summer, she can play more. Playing. How many? Thank you, Carol. Playing. Right now, as I read that, it's 111 right here. Playing. What are you doing to play? That's another thing that all these, there's so many times when that's all, especially the elementals, maybe they just want to play with you. When these two Sasquatch jumped in my car, I know they were just playing with me. Like, oh, come on. We know Tammy's got a good sense of humor. Let's go play with her. Let's just jump into her car. Every time I pass that, whenever I come home, and it's always when I come home. I don't notice it when I'm going to Oklahoma, but when I come home, I'm like, oh yeah, this was the spot where they jumped in. So, okay. With that said, that can be a whole new subject. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. Playing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm here for you. If you want to reach out to me, send me a Facebook message, or you can even email me at hello@theemeraldcompass.com. Again, that's hello@theemeraldcompass.com. There is so much. I'll end with this thought. There's so much that wants to come and be and do and play and create with us. There's a new energy. There's this new evolving, this new pristine purity of energy that is waiting for you, that is waiting to be invited in by you. Come and be with me. Show me, guide me. Create the space within you and around you. What is it you need to do to create the space? Because you too are a magical being. You are a magical being. I believe in you. I believe in you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining today. Thank you for hanging out. We all love, love, love the fact that you did. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you need me, just reach out. Cheers, everyone.